Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending the BEAD Deployment Program webinar. My name is Leo Garcia, and I am the Director of the Office of Broadband here at Florida Commerce within the Division of Community Development. I am joined today by Paul Witherspoon, our Chief of Broadband Funding. Our office is excited for the opportunity to present you this information regarding our BEAD program and how to apply for the BEAD deployment funding to bring 100% of broadband connectivity to the remaining unserved and underserved areas in Florida. A couple housekeeping items. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat feature and we will address all questions at the end of the presentation. This presentation will be recorded and we will have the recording and the slide deck posted within the next 2 business days. To start off, I would like to give a brief overview of the Office of Broadband. The office was created by the legislature in 2021 to encourage the use of broadband internet throughout the state, distribute grant funds to build new broadband infrastructure to unserved areas, and promote adoption and use of broadband in unserved, underserved, and rural areas of Florida. The vision of the office is to foster a connected economy that supports workforce and community development, education opportunities, resiliency, and telemedicine by increasing broadband availability, accessibility, and adoption. To date, the office has awarded more than $700 million in funding for new infrastructure, multi-purpose community facility upgrades, and digital device programs. The office has been allocated $1.1 billion in funding through the BEAD program to serve all remaining unserved and underserved locations in Florida. Additionally, our office values community engagement, and that's why we have our local technology planning teams in all 67 counties in Florida. We will discuss further about our LTPTs and how they can be utilized during the application process. BEAD is a federal program funded through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act for broadband infrastructure construction. Florida's allocation for this program is more than $1.1 billion. Florida's BEAD program will present the largest effort to close the digital divide to date. Through BEAD, Florida Commerce will work to serve every remaining unserved and underserved location in the state with high-speed broadband internet access, a total of more than 100,000 locations. The Office of Broadband has been working on its initial proposals for BEAD funds, which details Florida's spending plan, BEAD dollars. Those proposals were approved by the federal government in the fall of 2024, giving Florida the green light to move forward with its BEAD program. Florida Commerce Office of Broadband plans to utilize $971 million of BEAD funding to provide broadband infrastructure deployment activities in Florida. BEAD sub-grants will be awarded on a competitive basis and will have a 4-year period of performance. Keep in mind, BEAD requires a 25% minimum match for applicants. Since the primary scoring criteria for the program will be minimum cost to BEAD program overall, providing the highest amount of private leverage in support of your application is highly encouraged. There will be no individual award maximum, and one provider will be able to win awards for multiple project areas. The program will be technology neutral, and applicants of any technology type will be eligible for priority broadband projects. I will now pass it over to Paul to provide more information about the BEAD deployment program.
Thanks, Leo. On June 6, 2025, National Telecommunication and Information Administration issued a new policy guidance regarding the BEAD program. Applicants will be asked to offer a low-cost service tier and will define the price for that tier. As stated in the policy guidance, eligibility for an applicant's low-cost service tier will be the same as the eligibility for the Universal Service Administrative Company Lifeline program. Please note the policy guidance placed us on an expedited timeline. The office's final proposal to NTIA is now due on September 4, 2025. The Office of Broadband is opening BEAD deployment applications on July 14th and closing the window on August 4th, 2025. So please pre-register as soon as possible and start considering which of your predefined service areas you would like to apply to serve. Additionally, all technology types will be eligible for priority broadband projects. We will discuss priority broadband project scoring later in the webinar. The office will emphasize priority broadband projects defined in the policy guidance as a project that can provide speeds of 100 over 20 megabits per second, has a latency under 100 milliseconds, and can easily scale speeds over time to meet the evolving connectivity needs of households and businesses, support the deployment of 5G, successor wireless technologies, and other advanced services. As stated in the policy guidance, minimum cost to the BEAD program will be the primary scoring criteria. If a competing application is within 15% of the total cost of the lowest cost app, the office may use speed to deployment and network speed as secondary scoring criteria. All technology types will be eligible for the funding as priority broadband projects under the program as long as providers can meet the performance requirements as mentioned in the policy note. The office is also working to rectify its list of eligible locations and finalize project areas for bid. Currently, we are working to confirm unlicensed fixed wireless locations data, incorporate self-reporting RDOF defaults, and update to the latest version of the FCC fabric. Our GIS team is hard at work with this challenging and time-consuming task. However, we should have a new list of eligible locations and newly drawn project areas before the application window opens. Eligible applications for the BEAD deployment program are internet service provider in Florida. Any Florida entity with a Federal Communications Commission provider license is eligible, including, however not limited to, nonprofit organizations, private entities, electric cooperatives and utilities, Florida's federally recognized tribes, and other entities develop and or operate broadband networks, including networks that are owned, operated by, or affiliated with local governments. Deployment activities will include the installation of infrastructure within unserved and underserved service areas without previous high-speed infrastructure, and deployment activities to connect unserved and underserved homes and businesses to existing broadband infrastructure via middle mile and last mile line extension. For BEAD, has elected to draw its own service areas providers to bid on. Updated project areas and eligible locations were posted on our website today, July 8th. Submitted applications must speak to every location in a given service area. There is no limit to the number of project areas an individual applicant can apply to serve. Applicants will specify which locations they will serve and may propose to exclude excessively high-cost locations within a given service area. Keep in mind that the lowest cost application might not be awarded if a higher cost application serves locations excluded by the lower cost application at a reasonable price. Technology types that meet the definitions slated previously will be eligible for consideration as a priority broadband project. A single application may include multiple technology types. Any entity that wishes to apply must first pre-register on the Office of Broadband's pre-registration portal. If you have previously applied for our past grant programs, your portal account has already been created for you. If you are a new potential subgrantee, a successful pre-registration will create an account for your organization that will be used for funding applications once the grant application windows officially open for BEAD and any future grant programs offered by the Office of Broadband. Each organization will have only one account. However, multiple users from your organization can be added to that account. Information from your pre-registration will pre-populate into your grant application, simplifying the grant application process once the grant application window opens. We encourage organizations to pre-register in the portal as soon as possible. The office can assist with any potential technical issues that may arise. If you do have any questions or concerns regarding the portal, please contact the Office of Broadband at our email address, broadband@commerce.fl.gov. On this slide, or suggestions to focus on prior to applying for the BEAD deployment program. All applicants must pre-register within the Florida Commerce Portal prior to applying. If you've not done so already, we have included the link on the slide deck. Applicants must submit separate applications for each project area they are interested in receiving an award for, detailing the broadband serviceable locations they plan to serve and any exclusions. Applicants will be required to include the cost per location in each application. Connect with your respective local technology planning team about your potential applications. The LTPT can offer valuable insights, provide letters of recommendation, and review applications for more comprehensive submissions. Board of Commerce strongly recommends that potential applicants team up with other providers to cover all project areas and locations within a single application, creating a more advantageous. Prepare your documents. Applicants will be required to provide all the following attachments to their application: project financial workbook, project matching funds, project schedule, low Earth orbit capacity, network design, low-cost service plan, National Environmental Policy Act plan, cybersecurity risk management plan, supply chain risk management compliance. Now I'll pass it back over to Leo to discuss the program's timeline.
Thanks, Paul. On this slide, we have laid out important dates for the BEAD deployment program. As Paul mentioned, our office posted project areas and eligible locations on our webpage today. The Office of Broadband plans to open the application cycle for the BEAD deployment program next Monday, July 14th. The Office of Broadband intends to close the application cycle for this BEAD deployment program on August 4th, 2025. The final proposal for the BEAD program is due to the NTIA September 4th, 2025. Provisional awards will be announced when the office submits its final proposal. Additionally, all projects for this program must be completed within 4 years of final proposal approval. Now we will take a brief break to gather questions we have received thus far. As a reminder, if you have questions, please type them into the chat feature and we will address any questions received. If your question doesn't get addressed, please email them to broadband@commerce.fl.gov. We'll give it a couple minutes. All right, we have received a few questions. The first question is, can you confirm the application window dates?
Yep, the application will open Monday, July 14th. Will run 21 days through August 4th, 2025.
Next question is, where are the eligible locations on the website? So we just posted those today. One of our team members here will be posting the link on the chat feature for you to quickly access. But if you navigate to our homepage, on there, there's a link that references Broadband Hub. In that link, it will take you to the Broadband Hub page, which then can be navigated through the grants section on the top ribbon of that page. Go to the drop down that says BEAD deployment. And on that page there, you will see holistic information about the BEAD deployment program, inclusive of the CSVs that have the unserved and underserved locations that we have posted for BEAD eligibility. And additionally, I just noticed that the polygons for the actual project areas is yet to be posted. So before the end of the day, those should be posted on the website. It must be a refreshing issue that we're experiencing, but by end of day, those should be posted as well onto that same area where the eligible locations are. Project areas and eligible is, I kind of spoke to that, Troy, in advance of your question. So Troy's question was, the project areas and eligible locations still say coming soon on the website? Again, I believe the location should be published and should be visible. Troy, if you're still having issues viewing that, please feel free to just email me directly and I'll be sure to share that with you. All right, next question. What will the balance of the BEAD funds be used for?
So we don't know what the balance of the BEAD funds are gonna be yet. So all the non-deployment activities have been put on hold for further review until they complete the deployment applications and get all the locations that are unserved and underserved covered. And we have not heard yet from NTIA whether or not there's going to be any non-deployment activities allowed or not. But we have made our case for having our continuation for the non-deployment through our workforce development program.
Can project areas be combined, or must there be a separate application for each project area?
Yes, all project areas have to have applicants separately. You can't combine your project areas. So if you're planning on doing adjacent service areas because it happens to be an area that you already serve, or because the return on investment is better for you, make sure you put in a good low bid because there's no guarantee that you will get adjacent areas.
Can you provide more information on the NEPA plan? I have not seen that in any other state's BEAD application programs.
Yeah, so the National Environmental Policy Act is a requirement of the program that's actually in the statute itself. We're not asking you to provide a plan at this point in time. You'll acknowledge that you recognize you have to. And then if you're selected, you're going to be required to do a National Environmental Policy Act plan and follow all the requirements of that. So we have some of that data available. So when we get to the agreement phase, once you get your provisional award, we'll help walk you through the process of getting that document together.
Thanks for that, Paul. Does an application cover 100% of the eligible locations in a project area?
So I think we've addressed that already in the slide deck, but just to reiterate, applicants are allowed food locations from that project area because of a high cost or the distance to serve. But we do encourage everybody to do their due diligence and try to make sure that we serve everybody. The money for this program is specifically to reach those harder to locate areas because they haven't been reached voluntarily in the past. But yes, we may exclude areas because of their cost or distance from your project area.
Okay. Is it possible to see the required attachments or questions in advance of launch date 7/14? Or will that be the first time we see them?
So if you go to our frequently asked questions, it's also in that same linked area that we provided earlier. The FAQs identify the lion's share of the questions. As time goes on, we'll post some of the templates in advance. We're still finalizing some of those. But we'll post some of the templates so that you'll have an advanced notice of the templates and you'll get an opportunity to go ahead and start pre-filling some of those. They'll be the standard templates that you see. We want to know the list of locations that you want to serve in a project area, the list of outliers or excluded locations within that project area, because those will have to be served at some point in time. We'll need a way to combine those together to make additional project areas to do negotiation afterwards. But it'll be the same that you've seen in all of our other applications. You're going to have the financials out there. You'll have to have some narrative. Some of the things that won't be involved is your stakeholder engagement, although we still encourage that with your LTPTs. But the application opening will not be the first time you see it. And the first day or second day of the application cycle, we'll also have a webinar to walk you through the application process.
Under the new NTIA guidance, will the applicant submit letters of support from the LTPT, or will those go directly to Commerce?
So if you're in your application, you're best served by having the engagement with the LTPTs locally. There are boots on the ground in all 67 counties. We meet with them every month as a group, and our team meets with them individually throughout the year. They know more about what's going on in their areas than we do. So it's in your best interest to talk to the local technology planning team. If they want to submit a letter of support, they can submit that either as an upload to your application, or they can send it directly to the broadband email box at broadband.commerce.fl.gov.
Is there an outline or specific criteria required for the NEPA plan?
There is that guideline. Those guidelines are on the NTIA website. I think the Broadband USA website There's several places for it. We will eventually have it on our website so that you can access it, but it's all federal requirements.
Can a provider submit a project for only a portion of the grant eligible locations in a PAU? I believe we answered that.
Yeah.
Can you confirm whether the state will allow providers to submit applications in bulk for multiple areas? Or is it one application equals one project area?
One application equals one project area.
Is there an update on when we can enter the portal to start reviewing the layout, questions, and required templates?
So again, we've talked a little bit about that. All of the templates will be posted to our website between now and Friday, so you'll have an opportunity to look at them in advance of the application open cycle. You will not be able to gain access into the application until about midday or later on Monday.
Will a list of applicable LTPT groups be available? Until we see the final eligibility areas, we may need to reach out to LTPT groups that we have maybe not already been working with.
Yeah, so if you're looking to get the current contact information, you can contact us at the broadband email. And people are looking at that every day, and our team that works with the LTPTs will provide an answer to you pretty quickly.
When will the project areas be released? As mentioned, those should be available no later than this afternoon. And then do see that locations were released today. So yes, so the locations are already posted, and we'll check on the project areas because those should be posted shortly, if not by the end of this meeting. What version of the fabric did Florida use to generate the list of eligible locations published today?
So we use version 4 with some modifications to get the list of eligible locations. These are the ones that were originally provided to us, or that we originally provided as part of our initial proposal to the NTIA and was approved. We've done modifications to eliminate some of the locations that were in Fabric 6 that have already been served by private industry. Also had exclusions for those that are federally committed. We've had some additions because of a Rural Digital Opportunity Fund program default in the state. It's an additional 650 locations for that. So we've modified on several instances. So these locations will be the most up-to-date. The use for Fabric 6 of those locations that we are aware of that have been served by private industry. So we incorporated all of Fabric 4, all of Fabric 5, and Fabric 6 to the extent that we could find service areas that were already served.
Right. Will audited financial statements be required for an application?
Yes, 2 years of audited financials are preferred. If you have not been in business long enough to have 2 years of audited financials, provide your annual financial information as you have available to you.
Okay. There are grant eligible locations interspersed between BIP and BOP award locations. May we remove those from our applications? They will likely be covered by the award.
If you can confirm they are served, then you may exclude those and give us that excuse when you provide us that CSV to say this is served according to the maps. It's served under the Broadband Opportunity Program or the Capital Projects Fund Infrastructure Program.
Will you have office hours?
Yes, we have office hours currently on Tuesdays from 10:30 to 11:30 and on Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We'll continue to have those office hours Tuesdays and Thursdays through at least the end of August.
Will Commerce be providing guidance to the LTPTs and municipalities that they are indeed allowed and encouraged to provide letters of support to any and all qualified partners and not limited to only one?
Yeah, we've been providing that information to them on our regular meetings. Our team that works with the LTPTs has been talking with them on a regular basis about providing support letter.
Please explain the scoring matrix.
Was not a great deal of our scoring matrix, right? The new policy guidance limited to Priority broadband projects have to meet the requirements of the actual statute, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It's reiterated in our application. It's also reiterated in the policy notice. Then if there are applicants that are within 15% of the cost of each other for a priority broadband project, the secondary scoring will be speed to deployment. And then what's the second one? Speed to deployment.
Skill.
There's two different criteria. So speed to deployment and I think speed's reach.
Speech. Yeah.
So there are not a lot of flexibility in our ability to score those.
Will the interactive map that included project areas and unserved locations return to the website?
Yes, that's the map that we'll be using.
Have unlicensed wireless locations been removed from the eligible location list?
So we did the notice, we posted the notice and allowed for a 7-day period to review it. An additional 7-day notice for them to provide us any evidence that they met the BEAD requirements for removal from eligibility. We had no locations removed from our eligibility list. As a result of that, I think there was 850 locations that were already out there. They are still eligible, BEAD eligible.
Will providers be able to submit multiple applications using the same project area? For example, one application proposing fiber and one application proposing fixed wireless, but both applications submitted are using the same project area.
Yeah, you can submit as many as you want to the same project area or multiple project areas. Every application has to be separate and unto itself.
And then next question was about office hours. And Alex, thank you for posting those. All right, we'll give it another minute or two, see if any more questions come in.
I just wanted to add to the last response about the multiple applications for the same project area. You can also combine a single application that uses multiple technologies within a service area. In other words, if you've got a cluster of locations that's easier to serve with fiber, but you have some excluded that you'd rather serve, and you wanted to use fixed wireless or some type of satellite, you wanted to put all of those technologies in the same application, that's fine as well.
Can you please share if there was a professional engineering certification of the project design requirement? And if so, will they need to be licensed in state?
So that is also a change to the program. It no longer has to be a certified professional engineer. It simply has to be a professional engineer that's licensed in any one of the 50 states or 6 territories.
Mark, I'm assuming, Mark, your question is related to LTPTs. Is there a listing of contacts for each county in Florida? So yeah, if you, as Paul mentioned, if you want to just send us an email to the broadband box, we will address that for the specific counties you're looking for, because they do evolve through time. Pause for another minute or two for any additional questions. While we're waiting, just a plug for next week. As mentioned, our anticipated launch date is Monday, the 14th. At some point, we'll open that window up, thinking probably midday or in the afternoon. Additionally, on that day, we do plan on hosting a walkthrough of what the application will be. So we can answer any questions that will come through from that platform as well, just to give you guys more insight to what the expectations will be for submitting the applications and to answer any questions you may have as we walk through it. There will be a formal email going out, inviting everyone to participate in that for those that are interested. Did get another question. How will Florida score applications that have different BSLs served? For example, application A excludes 0 BSLs. Application B excludes 10 BSLs. Both applications request 100 in subsidy. Which application wins?
So that's a simple math calculation, right? That's the cost per location. So we'll take the requested amount, the number of locations, divide one into the other, and you come up with the cost per location. So however the math works out, will be the lowest cost, and that will be the one selected.
All right, seeing that there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank you all for your engagement and attendance in this presentation. We look forward to receiving your applications for the BEAD deployment program and, to keep moving forward in our vision to expand broadband in the state of Florida, engage with our communities, and advance a connected economy. As mentioned, if you have any other questions, please feel free to contact us at our email address at broadband@commerce.fl.gov, and look forward to hearing from you soon. And please also join our office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.